Afternoon, everyone. By all accounts, from the feedback I've got, I seem to enjoy the episode we dropped yesterday, so we'll just get straight back into where we left off. Okay, so today we're looking at midfielders, guys. And like with every video, I always just like to have a wee look at the footy before we get going and just see what the market's kind of doing, what it's up to. We've got a nice increase today after the massive decrease we had yesterday, and you tend to find the market does move in little swings and roundabouts in that sense. You know, if there is a couple of days of down, it's quickly returned by some days of significant rise, and I would call significant three figures. You know, if the market's to move or up or down by 20 points, 50 points, whatever, it's not much of much. Pardon me. But 187 is a good movement upwards, which is nice. Now, I'm really confused who won dividends last night, because I know Ramsey scored like 205 points or something, but Jorginho's one top midfielder with 0 points, which I find bizarre. And but yeah, so slideshow for the midfielders. We've got top transfers for the summer. We're starting our place off with Philippe Coutinho. Okay, now again, with some of the ones we did yesterday and with some of the ones we'll do today, guys, I'm not going to labour into them too much. You'll know everything you need to know about them already. We're just kind of putting them into this top 10 in no particular order and highlighting what you need to watch out for, what you need to be mindful of, what's positive, what's negative. Okay, so Coutinho is on a downward turn price-wise now, which is surprising considering that he started the first leg, and had it not been an own goal, I believe he'd have got the assist, sort of thing. So he played well enough in the game, and it looks like Barcelona will progress. If we did Brentford Reject series where we looked at Premier League players who'd left the Premier League and might return. It's in this playlist that I've just made called Transfer Chat. You should go check that out on you go. But I just thought I'd show you some of the similarities, some of the similar content we had from that, just to understand really why Coutinho's still really having a really decent season overall. It's just not been Messi or Suarez. So he's had 22 games at forward left, 5 goals, 3 assists, which is tidy. He's had 9 games starting centre mid, 3 goals, 4 assists, which is very good. And with the links that we've had, Liverpool, Man United being the main two teams, they're going to be playing him in number 10. And that's where his appeal still is for these clubs, is number 10 in the middle, where he's got freedom to move from left to right, link with strikers, take the ball from deep and carry it. And that's where his appeal is. It definitely looks like he'll be leaving Barcelona. I think Liverpool would take him back with open arms. I think Man United would love to have him. I think his heart is probably going to be in Liverpool, because I think last year when they got to the Champions League final after he'd moved into January, you really, some people maybe not, but you kind of feel for him, because you want to see the best players at the biggest stage. So I think he's maybe got a wee bit of unfinished business in his mind with Liverpool under Klopp, with the way the team's been built. So I could definitely see that happening. And again, like I was touching on yesterday, the longer something rumbles on, I've got a feeling that'll be good for the news that we're going to be getting off Football Index on the 15th, okay? The next boy we come to is one of my own. It's Kai Havertz, okay? Now, Kai, just so you know, guys, this guy's 19, right? And I'll walk you through the slides, okay? But his price over the last 6 months has been basically all up, Had a little lull of dipping down. Leverkusen get knocked out of the Europa League by Krasnodar, which was really against the tide. No one expected that to happen. I personally thought Leverkusen would have coasted it. Russian teams can be sticky, we all know that, but all the same, Leverkusen should have had enough to get by them, and that's why you see that little lull in his price between the end of January to really the beginning of April. Okay, he's just excuse me, trying to eat a chip there. He's the second best rated player for Leverkusen this year. Now Leverkusen are in a really tricky position. They're sitting 9th in the table, and they need to break into the top 6 to get a European spot next year. And this basically whole page here could be up for sale if they don't attain European football. Okay, 1 or 2 of them we will talk about later. But Kai sitting second, 19 years of age in the Bundesliga for a top team. Second best player throughout the season. And this is his overall for the league: 27 starts, 12 goals, 3 assists, which for a centre mid at 19 years of age in a top 3 European league is incredibly good. Shots per game's nice and high, tackles per game's high enough, and dribbles per game is pretty solid as well. If you really drill in, he's played right forward, which is like right winger, on 4 occasions, 3 goals, 1 assist, which is a very good return. I suspect if we drilled right into who those teams were, they might have been weaker opponents, or it might have been when like Bailly or Bailey, whatever you want to call them, or Brandt were maybe playing in different positions, or maybe injured or suspended. At CDM, he's started twice, played okay, 6.8. And then at Cam, at number 10, he started 15 games, 7 goals, 5 assists, great return. And then number 8, box-to-box midfielder, 11 starts, 5 goals, 7.3 rating again. You know, so the comparisons people have made with him, it's like Ballack, and you can kind of see why being coming through Leverkusen, and these are the sort of numbers he's posting up. Now, I took this picture because this is the last start he made for Germany. He's got 3 caps for Germany national team, like the seniors, and they've all came this season. Okay, this squad was the first squad after Joachim Löw came out, and he said we're moving German football into the next generation. Okay, and then this is the team he started with the very next game. Okay, now as you might remember, Sané didn't make the World Cup squad, but I really see that front four as really being the German front four for the next tournament and for the foreseeable. Sané, Havertz, Brandt and Werner, you know, they're all so exciting, so they're all relatively young, and they're all very pacey and very proven at a good level, you know. So if Havertz is playing number 10 for Germany, which are a top 5 nation, forget the FIFA rankings, right? Germany is a top 5, I don't even know where they are in the rankings, but they're a top 5 nation. If you're starting and you're a key player for somebody like that, you're always going to be a big figure in the world of football. Okay, pardon me. Now, I took a wee screenshot of this for you, right? So this is goal.com, and it's a quote from Havertz himself. You know, he's talking about you know, the links with Bayern Munich. Have I got 2 screenshots? Yeah, I do. And in this one here, he's talking about getting into an international position for the end of the season to Eurosport. Okay, so what he's kind of saying there, if you read between the lines, is if Leverkusen secure European football, there's quite a safe chance he'll stay. If not, he'll need to consider his options. Okay, so how Leverkusen's season pans out will really dictate how likely he is to leave, in my opinion. Because if you look at the numbers as on this page, Leverkusen want 100 million euros for him, and there's some teams that will pay that for him. I dare say Man City would pay that for him if they wanted him, you know. And there's a couple of other clubs that might splash out if they see somebody at 19, 20 years old who they can get, you know, a good 7 years out of. Then 100 million is good economics, you know, if you're going to keep somebody for a long time and they're going to produce for you over that period of time. Okay, and then you can see who's been linked to. There's a kind of link to Arsenal. It's mainly Bayern at this point, but I think all will tell in the summer, and especially once we see where Leverkusen's finishing position is, you know. The next guy we come on to is also German, and that's Toni Kroos. Okay, now again, I'm not going to labour the point too much, but as you can see, his price is on a nice downward now, and again, that'll be Real Madrid been out of the Champions League and a few other bits and pieces. Okay, so potentially a good time to be buying. The main people that are linked with Toni Kroos now is Paris Saint-Germain, Man United, and I could have swore Inter Milan. Yeah, it was 3. Man U and Inter handed hope as Kroos will leave Real Madrid, and then PSG line up 68 million transfer. So, and again, if you read here, Real Madrid to swap Toni Kroos or Gareth Bale. That is when I opened up that article. I think that's for Pogba, or it's for a Tottenham player, I think. So there's a few potential things in the wing here. If he goes to Paris, in terms of the index, it's probably not going to do too much for his price, short to medium term. If he goes to Man United, it's probably going to do a lot for his price, especially immediate term. You know, as soon as that news hits, if he does go to Man United, he'll pop like mad. Inter Milan, it's not going to do much for his price again, really short to medium term. But yeah, so there's Toni Kroos. Youri Tielemans, surprise, surprise, is in the list for midfielders. Okay, we all know about Tielemans. Okay, now, and again, we've spoke about Tielemans in a video previously. I forget which one it was. But again, he's in great form. If you look at his price, it's on a nice upward surge since Rodgers came into Leicester and he started performing. As you can see, this is in the Premier League. I know it says League 1 there, but it's just League 1, but it's just the way I've scrolled through this. In the Premier League, 8 starts, 2 goals, 3 assists, shots per game mega high, tackles per game nice and high, dribbles per game is just under 1, average rating 7.2. That's brilliant. And then in Ligue 1 itself, 20 starts, 5 goals, 1 assist, and then you look at this goals, shots and tackles. Shots, tackles and dribbles at the bottom. Now the thing you need to remember with this is this Monaco team, when he left, were in the bottom 3. You know what I mean? So for a box-to-box midfielder, to still pull out decent numbers for a bottom 3 team, it shows you his quality, it shows you his class. Overall, all competitions, 34 starts at centre mid, 7 goals, 6 assists, which is incredible. And then we've got 6 games starting at CDM. I don't think there's any assists, but there's certainly no goals there. Okay. Characteristics, you can see there, very widespread for a nice midfielder. You know, passing, shooting, concentration, gets fouled often, likes to shoot from distance, does layoffs, so he brings other people into the game. No significant weaknesses, which is good as well. And I just took a screenshot of this Sun article because it kind of encapsulates everything. We're going to have a trifecta of teams after him, minimum. Going to have Leicester, Man United and Spurs going after this guy, and then you might have some teams maybe like Atletico Madrid or maybe an AC or an Inter Milan. You might have some continental teams coming after him as well, but he will be moving, and especially the more Premier League teams that are involved, the better it is for media, speculation, buzz and whatever else Football Index put on a plate for us in the next couple of days. Okay, the next one we come to is Rabiot. Okay, now Rabiot is 100% leaving Paris. There's no if, buts or maybes about it. His contract is up in the summer. His mum is his agent, and it's been well publicised that he's not staying at Paris. He's barely kicked a ball for them this year, but I managed to grab some stats for him anyway. He has played 12 starts, 2 goals, 1 assist, and then his shots, tackles and dribbles are fairly decent. And if you consider the fact that he's probably been disillusioned and not been played, is it that, you know, those 12 games wouldn't have been on the bounce. It's probably one here, one there, when he's in and out of contract talks before Paris have decided we're not talking to you anymore. I think I've got 2 pages of speculation for him. So apparently he's agreed to deal with Real Madrid, apparently Liverpool are after him, apparently Juventus are after him, and apparently Arsenal are after him. So a great kind of clutch of clubs to be linked with a player. He's a free agent. He's definitely signing for someone, and then it's just then what you've got to consider is how likely is he to move to the Premier League. Liverpool or Arsenal, could they sign him? Yes, they could. What would that do to his price? It would definitely be a positive in the short to medium term, 100%. If he moves to somebody like Juventus, you'll maybe look at a longer term. Or who was the other one? Real Madrid. If he goes to Real Madrid, I think his price will go up quite significantly. But if he went to Juventus, he maybe stagnate a little bit. Maybe an initial wee pop, you know, after the news, but then settle down. And then we have everyone's favourite CDM from England, and that is Declan Rice. Okay, so again, you can see over the last 3 months his price has been a nice, consistent increase. There's no real dive downs after any big significant rises, which is cool. And then again, you can just see really it's Man City, Man United. Don't need to tell you too much about Declan Rice. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. If he plays well in the Nations League, I can see a transfer coming in for him. West Ham are Gold, Sullivan and Brady would sell him for 50 million. I believe they'd sell him no problem at all. And Kante, okay, now the best midfielder on earth as we speak right now. He's in his third season with Chelsea. He's just won the World Cup. He's being played out of position. He's not really enjoying it. He's not really doing his thing. And we all know who's a big fan of him, and that is Zinedine Zidane. Okay, Man City. This is reported on the 5th of April by the Metro, and there's a few other outlets that report that as well. Man City make an approach for him. I don't see Chelsea selling to Man City unless it's mega money. But if Man City got Kante, I think football should just stop. You know, that would be it, really. You know, Bayern Munich are after him, Real Madrid are after him, Man City allegedly are after him as well. N'Golo Kante. On that, before we talk about Brais, if he goes to Munich, the thing about Kante, if you look at his price here, right, is over 3 months. This is all his movements. You know, it's a really narrow bandwidth. I feel like between 46 and 52 pence. His price doesn't shift about too much this year. So if he went to Bayern Munich, you're not going to see much. If he goes to City or Real, it will definitely shoot up short to medium term. And then it all depends on match day performances. If he's scoring high for these clubs, then it's going to become more and more valuable in the index. Okay. Brais Mendez, okay, so he's in a nice slump now. That's because Vigo have been doing really poor and you know, fighting against relegation. Aspas is back in the team and they might stave it off, who knows, okay. But this guy here, he's in a video I've got in this playlist called Making Money from Relegation. I forget if it's part 1 or part 2 he's in, but you can go and check that out. I think I've got one snapshot of something that's worthwhile seeing. But Leicester were lined up with him. Barcelona have been kind of linked to him, and I think West Ham were kind of linked with him when they went in for Nasri. So some tenuous, nothing concrete, which is why his price is on that downward. There's nothing, you know, when players have any sort of concrete links, they don't go down, they go up, you know, so that's why he's moving down the now. There's no real concrete links kicking about. He's been breaking into the Spain team and making a good impression, and players that break into national teams like Spain and Germany and whatever, they don't stay at these lower tier teams for very long before they move to somewhere else. You know, all you need to do is look at Real Madrid with signings like in the past, like Sergio Canales, Isco, Chabalos, whatever his name is. You know, these types of guys, you know, when they break into the national team, they're going to go to a bigger club. There's no two ways about it. okay? And then you look at his stats, okay? So he plays in a variety of positions, right? But overall in the league for Celta Vigo, 25 starts, 6 goals, 7 assists, shots per game 2.5, tackles per game over 2, dribbles per game pretty low. He's only 22 years of age. If you look at his characteristics, likes to hold the ball, loves passing, loves shooting, loves taking set pieces, and he contributes defensively, okay? So for a winger, you know, what kind of teams might want somebody like that? You know, you can make the list up yourself. I'm pretty sure you don't need me to tell you. Styles, gets fouled, likes to cut inside, likes to tackle. Okay, and then we said this about Denzel Dumfries yesterday, okay, but Ibrahim Sangare. If you don't know who he is, get to know him, okay? He's the new Yaya Toure, that's the word on the street, okay? He's got the most tackles per game in European football right now as it stands. And as you can see in the index, it was a bit higher, dropped, and he's popped, okay? So he's getting back into form, okay? So let's have a look at him. In the league, 21 starts, 1 goal, 3 assists. Shots per game is decent, considering he's a CDM. He's only got 1 goal to his name. Tackles per game, tackles per 90 minutes is over 4 successful, okay? That is the highest in Europe for a midfielder, certainly. I don't know about defender, but 100% for a midfielder. And dribbles per game is just under 2, okay? So you can see why this guy's getting called Toure. He dribbles, tackles, shoots from deep in midfield, and he's from the Ivory Coast as well. So again, like Havertz and Balak, if you share nationality with a legend and you have similar traits, it's going to come up. Strengths, massive strength there is tackling, blocking the ball, no significant weaknesses, and you can see the list of styles he's got there. He's a combative defensive midfielder, okay? Who's linked with him? Barcelona, Brighton tried to get him in August allegedly. Atalanta tried to get him in the summer as well allegedly. But yeah, he's got no major concrete links other than Barcelona at the moment, okay? And I found this lovely graph on Football London, right? This, if you Google Ibrahim Sangare transfer news, this is one of the top articles that comes up, right? And it's not really about this guy in particular, it's more about Spurs, who they should be signing. And they did this little graph for Sangare, so you can see dual success is massively high, dribbles is high, passes to the final third, so forward passes, and if you look there, passes to the final thirds on one side of the graph, and on the other side forward passes, the guy moves the ball forward really quickly. His pass count is solid, and look at interceptions, how high that is. Goals and assists and progressive runs are all the tight things in this graph, otherwise it'd be a massive big splodge. But the guy's having a great season. And then the last guy we come to is SMS himself, right? So he had a great season last year. Tom, Dick and Harry were going to be spending all their money on him. He had a good start to the World Cup and then kind of faded away. And this season he's not really produced. Lazio beat Roma a few weeks ago, and after then I thought, do you know what, now's a great time to be buying Savic, because after winning a derby, couldn't kick-start your season, you know, they weren't in Europe anymore, and you know, he's also thinking about a summer transfer potentially. You know, he spent his time at Lazio and he might move on, and he's kind of kicked on a bit. He's still Lazio's best player, but he's not done anything like he did last year, you know. If we have a look at who's linked to him, Real Madrid and Man United, that's all we're really getting at the moment. You could see something potentially like a Bayern Munich, potentially, but it's really Real Madrid and Manchester United that are looking at this guy, okay. But Milinkovic Savic, where his price is at the now, if he goes to any of those teams, he's only going to raise in price. You know, he's a big player, and I mean that in all ways possible. He's massive, and he's a big name. And you know, jokes aside, so he's somebody who sneakily could have a lot of room for growth, because if you remember his form last year, if he was to recapture that next season with a Man United or Real Madrid, he'll be one of the most sought after midfielders on the index by far, okay. Thanks for tuning into the video, guys. There's a few guys that didn't make the list on this. A few honourable mentions, guys like James Maddison and a few other bits and pieces. I'll try and focus this list on the ones that I think might be a good opportunity for you to get ahead of the crowd, or ones that are pretty obvious that will be good for media, regardless of what the announcement may be coming up, guys. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel, like, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, bye bye.